it's Miss K. I'm back here with another project. This time, we're going to focus on line. So the first thing that we have to do, and it's kind of like one of our other projects, is make some bubble letters with the word line. L-I-N-E. Now, your paper, it might take a couple tries, so use a pencil. I am going to try to fit them all by using a Sharpie in one go, but sometimes it's hard to fit bubble letters and make them all look pretty, so you might want to use a pencil in case you mess up. I'm going to start over here, and I'm going to do a capital L. Okay, so I have a regular L. I'm going to trace around it to make it a bubble L. Awesome. All right, I'm going to do the same thing with an I. I'm going to draw a straight line up and down, and then I'm just going to make it into a rectangle. L-I. The N can be a little bit tricky. N. Oh, I hope I have enough room for my E. Okay, N. This E is going to be skinny. There we go. L-I-N-E. Now, my marker made these lines a little bit thin. We can add some thicker lines later to make it look a little bit more interesting. So the first thing that we're going to do is talk about horizontal lines. Horizontal lines go sideways like this. It's like they're laying down. And I think with my L, I'm going to make some horizontal lines. Notice that they're all about the same space between each one of them. That's how we can make it look nice and neat. Okay, so I have horizontal lines here. I think I'm going to do the same thing in my I here, making horizontal lines. Leaving the same amount of space between each one, not going outside of the letters. Just trying to touch one side of the line to the other. Okay, so these are both horizontal lines. They go sideways like this. Let's switch them and make some vertical lines. They go up and down. So in every other one, I'm going to make them go skinny, and they're going to be close together. So it's going to be like a pattern. Every other one in my eye is going to have vertical lines. Awesome. In my L, I think I'm going to do the same kind of pattern in that it's every other one, but this time I'm going to use a diagonal line. Diagonal lines go at an angle like this. I'm going to skip down and go to the next one. Remember, not going outside of the lines, trying to do it nice and neat. Touching from one side to the other. Awesome. So now I have horizontal lines, vertical lines that go up and down, and diagonal lines that go at an angle. They can go this way or the other way. Either one's fine. Okay, all the lines that we've just done so far are called parallel lines. Parallel lines are like an equal sign. That means they never touch. They can go on forever and ever in either direction, but they're never going to touch each other. Okay, it doesn't matter if they're horizontal, if they're vertical, or if they're diagonal. They never touch each other. I think we should make some perpendicular lines in another space. So let's go to my E. And I think I'm going to do a couple different patterns. I'm going to slice it up into sections here. So all the pieces that stick out are going to have perpendicular lines. perpendicular lines do cross. It's like if you have one this way and you have another one like this. So let's look at the top of my E. I'm going to start by making vertical lines. All right, and now we're going to make them perpendicular by doing horizontal lines between. Awesome. Let's do the same thing on the rest of those 2 spaces for the E. Trying to make all the boxes about the same size just so it looks neat. And remember, you can use a pencil or even a crayon. Or a pen, even a ballpoint pen would work too. I'm just using a Sharpie so it shows up really clearly on the camera for you guys. So now I have some perpendicular lines on my E. So let's go do some zigzag lines. So I'm going to do zigzags, I think, in this blank N here. Zigzag lines are really pointy. They're like mountains. Okay, my N has a space. So I'm going to skip that and go to the next part of the N. And just like we were doing here, you're going to try to make it about the same between each one. And you can even tell all my triangles, like all my zigzags, are about the same size too. You don't have to measure. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just try your best by looking at it with your eyeballs and getting it to match up. Oops, this part of the end too. Awesome. And then I think I'm going to add, in these blank spaces of my E, I'm going to add some spirals. Spirals start out really small and then they grow bigger and bigger and bigger. So they never touch each other. I'll move a little bit closer so you can see the next one. Start out in the middle and then it grows and grows and grows. Awesome, like that. Okay, so now I have a bunch of different types of lines. All of my lines are pretty thin. If I wanted to make them thicker, I think I'm going to trace like the outline of a couple of my letters to make them thicker. I can either use a different material. I can use a marker if I was using like say a pen or a pencil. I could use a crayon. Or if I just only have the one material, I can just trace it and draw next to it and kind of like color it in a little bit bigger around the outside. Okay, so do you see how the outline of my L is getting thicker? You can use thicker lines and thinner lines to help kind of draw your attention to certain parts of your design. Anything that you want them to like really pay attention to, you can do like a thick outline on. It draws their attention in a little bit more. And then if you want to have like a lot of details, doing them really thin helps. All right, and I think I'm just going to leave my L thicker. If I wanted to go back and make these other ones thicker, I totally can, but it's just showing you the difference between thin lines and thick lines. All right, guys, I hope this helps. Have fun on this project.